The basic story of Elden Ring is quite simple, and you can learn that from the first cutscene itself. The Elden Ring was shattered by Marika, and then she went missing. To claim the throne, a war broke out between the siblings of Marika, but no one would succeed in claiming it, and the result was unclear. So some of these siblings, demigods all, took the small shards or runes of the ring and kept it for themselves to grant them unique powers. The Greater Will, who is an outer god, brings back few of the tarnished in the hopes that they will unite the Elden Ring together and form a new order in the lands between, which is the land of the living in the Elden Ring universe. And so the player sets on a journey to kill these demigods and gain the title of Elden Lord after reuniting the shards. But we don't get the full story. Who were these demigods? Who was Queen Marika? And who was Godwyn that was shown to be murdered by the mysterious figures? Today we shall be going through all of that and more. So hit that subscribe button if you would like more videos like this, and let's get started. Long ago, the Greater Will, who is an outer god, sent out a star which held the Elden Ring. The star arrives in the lands between and becomes the infamous Elden Ring. The Elden Ring held in itself a large, terrifying beast known to be the vessel of the Greater Will, sent to rule over the lands between on its behalf. It's called the Elden Beast. It was sent here to impose order in the lands. And if the Elden Beast is the embodiment of order, so the Elden Ring is the tool used to impose this order in the world. So the Elden Ring became the most powerful and the most important tool in the lands between. We can see that in the various endings of the game, that whatever mending rune we use to repair the Elden Ring gives rise to the new order of the lands between. In fact, the Golden Order itself was formed after removing Destined Death or the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring. Queen Marika thought that her perfect kingdom would do better if there was no death in the world, thus condemning all life in the world to eternally roam around. We can see this in the world by roaming around the map and find various enemies walking like zombies, dead but still alive because of the removal of the Rune of Death. This shows that the Greater Will only cares about the Elden Ring being restored and does not necessarily care about the Order. The lore for what was in the lands before the Golden Order is scarce. It is known that there was a primordial civilization called the Crucible, where all life forms were united. After that, there was the Age of the Dragons, where Placidusax was the Elden Lord and consort to a god. But it was always clear that after the arrival of the Elden Ring, there has always been an Elden Lord and a god. Queen Marika was the one who created the Golden Order. Like Rani, Miquella, and Melania, the children of Marika, she was once an Empyrean. Empyreans are the chosen ones, selected by the Elden Ring to become its vessel and ultimately a god, and set a new order. Upon ascending godhood, Queen Marika created the Golden Order, which is the order of the Erdtree. She created the order by removing the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring. She had a consort, just like Placidusax, named Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Although he was not the first Elden Lord, he was named so because he was the first one during the Golden Order. People often confuse the Elden Ring to be related with the Erdtree, but that is not the case. The Erdtree is the symbol of the Golden Order, but as we know, there were orders and so the Elden Ring even before that. Marika stated that the Erdtree governs all. Become one and follow the order, or forever be shunned by it and be banished from the lands. These banished soldiers are called the Tarnished, once loyal to the Erdtree, now banished from the lands between. The Golden Order ranges from the time when Marika became god to the present day until the player chooses another order. Although named the Golden Order, it has many problems. As Marika was the goddess chosen by the Greater Will and the Elden Ring, she too wishes to keep the beings from the primordial era, the Crucibles, out of the world. These include the Crucible Knights, the Misbegottens, and the Omens. These beings oppose the Golden Order and the Erdtree, so they are either forced to live underground or are killed. The Omens suffer much worse fate out of the tree. They are constantly hunted by the Omen Killers, have nightmares every time they fall asleep, and there is a constant itch around their whole body. That's why when you roam around the upper areas of the map, you can only find a few of these characters. But when you venture into the undergrounds and the lands beneath the lands between, there are abundance of these creatures. The race that also opposed the order of the Earth Tree were the giants. They were killed off by Marika and her army or pushed back to the mountain tops. The fire giant, who was in war, fought between Marika and the giants, was punished by making him hold a large plate above his head for eternity and watch over the giant forge. This was important because the giant forge was the only thing that had the power to burn down the Earth Tree itself. So it was like killing two birds with one stone for Marika: punish the opposition and also keep her tree safe. The last kind that opposed the order of the Earth Tree were the dragons. The dragons were the ruler of the lands between before Marika arrived. They opposed everything about the Earth Tree, and so just like the war with the giants, there was a massive war between the dragons and Marika's army. In the end, the dragons were defeated, but unlike the giants who were pushed back to the mountaintops, most of the dragons were killed during the war. We have talked a lot about Marika, but who was she? Well, the origins of Queen Marika are not well known, but she was not born into royalty. She belonged to the Newman race. This race is also playable in the character select menu, and its description says that they are descendants of people from a different place, not from the lands between. So this means that Marika might also be from a place that is not in the lands between. Although not much is known about her birth, she was chosen by the Two Fingers, the messengers of the Greater Will, to become a god or to become the vessel for the Elden Ring and command a new order. When the time came, she became the vessel, meaning she was the Elden Ring herself. We can see this in the last cutscene where she was hanging. In her abdomen, the complete Elden Ring could be visible. This means that the Elden Beast, the personification of order, and the Elden Ring, the tool used to bring order, were fused with Marika and she became a new god. Also, every Empyrean had a shadow that was assigned to them. They are loyal companions who are unable to defy the orders of their master. Rani had Blight and Marika had Malekith, one of the coolest bosses in the game, in my opinion. Although Miquella and Malenia were both Empyreans, the details of their shadows are not mentioned in the game. Although there are many pictures that show Miquella had 3 wolves, and you are given the wolves' ashes at the start of the game from Rani, saying it belonged to their master. I think those might be the shadow of Miquella. We will get into that when we discuss more about the children of Marika. As we know, the Golden Order was the order where the Rune of Death is missing. This rune was given to Malekith, her shadow. It was a genius plan in my opinion. She could keep the Rune of Death outside the Elden Ring and also keep it safe from enemies, as Malekith uses it alongside his weapon to make it stronger. You might be wondering, how is it that even though death is missing, you can kill enemies? Well, when delivering the fatal blow, they don't die but return to the Earth Tree where they can live the rest of eternity. The ones who reject the Earth Tree either become skeletons who cannot die and roam the lands, or they become wandering spirits which you can find outside catacombs or churches. But it was not simple to just throw out death and place a new order for everyone to follow. Marika had to fight off the dragons, the giants, and the countless enemies who did not want to comply with the order. For that, she needed someone who could wage wars for her, someone who could prepare an army strong enough to fend off any enemies. She needed a consort, an Elden Lord, and so she married Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. But he was not always Godfrey. He was named as Horalu, the warrior. As his title would suggest, he was a warrior, great enough to have conquered every battle. And because of that reason, Marika married him. It is believed that to maintain order, Horalu needed to calm down his anger for needless battle and war. And so he was given a beast named Sharosh that Horalu carried on his back to suppress his desire for war, after which he donned the name Godfrey. Marika and Godfrey had 3 children: Godwyn the Golden, the twins Morgoth the Omen King, and Morg the Lord of Blood, all of whom were demigods. Godfrey and his knights, also known as the Crucible Knights, went to battle against their foes. They battled the dragons, the giants, sealed the giant forge on top of the mountain, and won the battle for the Stormveil castle. The dragons even managed to break into the capital city. We can see a large dragon corpse just lying in the center of the capital city. But ultimately, all were defeated, except for the battle with the Carian army. 2 wars were fought between the Golden Army and the Carian army, and neither side won either of them. It is said that the Carian knights were so strong that even if they lacked the numbers that the Golden Order had, they carried the knowledge of sorcery, and with that they could fend off many of the Golden Army. These knights were said to be only 20 in number and appointed by the Lunar Queen herself, Renala. and these forces were led by a mysterious champion, a champion named Radagon. Radagon is the final boss of the game, but it is also the most confusing character of them all. There are many theories for this character, and it's almost impossible to know which is true, as we are not given many clues about his origin or about what he is. In Leyndell, the capital city, you can find that Marika and Radagon are the same. This is the reason why there are so many debates about his origin and how they are one and the same. Many say that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities because Radagon fought the Golden Order and married Renala, while others say that they were the same from the very start and it was all a plan of Queen Marika to break Renala. When you find Renala, she sleeps in a bubble and does not even fight you till the second phase. After defeating her, she sits in the room waiting for her sweetings, the artificial children that she created, to come back. She looks completely broken. This is because after the war, Radagon and Renala fell in love and got married. They had 3 children named Lunar Princess Rani, Star-Scorched Radan, and Praetor Rykard, all of whom are considered to be demigods as well. When Radagon left Renala, she was heartbroken and locked herself in the library, essentially making her defenseless and unable to fight further wars, thus making Marika an expert at planning and manipulating. But there is one problem. After leaving Renala, Radagon went to Leyndell and married Marika to become the second Elden Lord. During this time, Godfrey was banished along with several other tarnished. The problem with this is that if Radagon and Marika are the same, then how can they make children? They had 2 children named Miquella and Malenia. But there is one simple fact that is true, that only the children of Radagon could become Empyreans. Rani, the daughter of Renala and Radagon, and the twins Miquella and Malenia, the children of Marika and Radagon. Confusing? Yeah, but it does make the story and the different interpretations very interesting. In the final boss fight, we can also see Queen Marika hanging in the crucified position inside the Earth Tree, and when we enter it, she turns into Radagon with red hair. All the children of Marika and Radagon are demigods. Godwyn the Golden was one of the finest warriors for the Golden Order. During the battle against the dragon, Godwyn fought against the mighty dragon Fortisax, and while doing so became friends. This is the reason why dragon incantations are allowed inside the capital. Even the sister of Fortisax, Lanciax, took the form of a human to commune with the knights as priestess of the cult. Unfortunately, Godwyn was killed by the Black Knives assassins, who took a fragment of the Rune of Death and imbued their knives with it to kill Godwyn. Next are the twin omens, Morgoth and Mohg. Both, being omens, were considered descendants of the Crucible, which were looked down upon. Because of that, they were kept hidden from the surface world, inside the sewers or the underground. Both had their own shackles, which were used to keep them restrained inside those tunnels. While Morgoth despised being born as an omen and thought that his quote-unquote curse was a disgrace to the golden lineage, Mohg accepted his fate and devoted his life to a new outer god, the god of blood. Mohg is also obsessed with Miquella. In the cutscene, we can see Mohg holding a childlike figure, which many think is Miquella. Miquella is the child of Radagon and Marika alongside her sister Malenia. Both of them were born of one god and the same parent. They are both Empyreans, but both of them are cursed. Miquella is cursed with eternal youth and Malenia with wrath. Miquella is loved by all. It is said that he had the power to manipulate others to do his biddings. Radagon taught Miquella the knowledge of the Golden Order, but Miquella was not satisfied because nothing in there was able to cure his sister's wrath, which was literally killing her from the inside. So he abandoned the Earth Tree and the Golden Order and made his own tree called the Helic Tree. It was a safe haven for anyone, omens, misbegottens, crucible knights, and all. He also used unalloyed gold to fend off the influence of the Greater Will. There are some theories that this is the reason why Miquella and Malenia don't have their own shadows and the 2 fingers. Malenia also followed his brother into the underworld, into the Helic Tree, where Miquella would reside to find a cure for her sister and find a new order. Next are the 3 children of Renala. They each have their own unique magic. Rani has the same lunar magic like her mother, one of the most powerful sources of magic which could fend off the Golden Army. Radan has the power of gravity and could stop even the stars from falling with his power. He rides his trusted and loyal companion using his gravity magic. When growing up, he had his companion that he rode, but as he grew up, he became too big to carry, so he used his gravity magic to still ride on his steed and stay with him forever. He even fought toe-to-toe with Melania in a war. They went head-to-head and no one came out victorious. This battle would take place in Kaled, and the consequences of that battle could be seen in the lands. Because Melania is cursed with rot, during the fight the whole land got rotten. The sad part about the fight, when it ended, the rot affected Radan's brain and he went mad, eating corpses and killing everyone inside. Last is Rykard. He is a weird one. He made his own magic by feeding himself to an eternal serpent, which in turn made him fuse with it and make him eternal as well. This can be seen when after you kill Rykard, if you revisit the site, you can see Rykard already growing back. One night, a cult or a group of assassins called the Black Knives stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith. They infused this fragment with their knives and made it so that they could kill a god or a demigod. In the darkness of the night, they sneak up upon Godwyn and kill him in cold blood. That was the first recorded death of a demigod. After this event, Marika began to harbor doubts about the Golden Order, about the Elden Ring, and about the Outer God, the Greater Will. She began searching for answers. She came to the conclusion that shattering the Elden Ring was the answer to all her questions, the answer to all her sins. Marika took the hammer and shattered the ring, but Radagon, her husband, with the same hammer tried to repair it. But it was already too late. The ring had been shattered. Because Marika and Radagon were the Elden Ring, their body was shattered along with it. Due to the treason, Marika and Radagon were locked inside the Earth Tree, and when you burn down the tree, they became free. You can see their shattered body in the cutscene, as well as the ring embedded inside Radagon. After Marika shattered the ring, shards of it fell across the land. The runes that you collect from the ground, the greater runes that you can collect from the bosses, all scattered. And this is where you come in. It is a hot debate that Marika was the one who revived the Tarnished, and she was the one who calls upon you to mend the Elden Ring and bring a new order. But nothing is clearly known as of now. Maybe the DLC might hold the truth and the answers to all the secrets. We will have to wait and find out. Until then, have a wonderful day. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed.